First of all, guys, congratulations on Fallen Dimension, which is out on May the 8th, so just a week from this recording. I saw the recent post on Instagram that you guys have received the vinyl, and it looks fantastic when I saw the reel. How does it feel seeing physical items in your hands? Does it make it feel like the whole process is starting to finally feel real?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, nowadays also when it's more digital platforms and so on, it feels really good to have something physically as well, both CD and vinyl records. So and also like knowing that everything what we have worked with for the last 2 years or so, that finally it's done, and here is the copy from it. Here is the result, and for me, that's a very very nice feeling.
Yeah, and I think maybe Jonas and the other guys are more into the physical like vinyls parts than me, but it's really really cool when you finally like open it and you see the artwork in real life, and it looks so much better actually when you have it in your hands than it looked on the pictures, because it's coming to life in another way. So it was really cool to open and see the artwork and know that the CD works as well. So the music actually sounds like you want it to. So yeah, really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I really liked how you guys got the band together. Then when I read your post that you've got for you guys have been around for a few years, you've excuse me, but you've got fans in Australia as well, around the world. So it's starts to feel part of a bigger, broader community all up. So it's a pretty surreal feeling. So again, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank
It's
you
really,
so
really
much.
fun. And it was kind of funny because when we were putting up in the web shop, we were like, okay, but maybe we get some orders here in Europe or Sweden and so on, and maybe not so far away. So, according to the logistics and sending away too far away, and the first thing that happened was like Australia, New Zealand, USA. So it's like, okay, maybe we are a bit abroad that we didn't think. So it's really, really cool.
No, that's awesome, guys. That's awesome. It's awesome to see it's reached to our part of the world. With Fallen Dimension, it's been described as your most focused and confident to date. What changed behind the scenes, whether it's in songwriting, production, or the mindset, that allowed the band to reach this point compared to your earlier releases?
I think musically, we in the really beginning we said we drop the guitars a little bit, so make them more heavier, and I think automatically then it was more guitar riff written, and so it's more guitar based this time than the keyboards. So I think that was like the tone already from the beginning. And then I think that also we were thinking we don't want to do an Imperial Dawn album again. We want to do something a little bit different, but still you should hear that it's Rexoria. So then we were like, yeah, how do you say? You're like really exploring areas where you haven't been before. And that was a bit of a challenge, but we had the other one in the band also, like, because we were like thinking, is this too much far away or and so on. But I think we found a really good balance, and that there is this red thread through the complete album musically. And then I think Frida did a really, really good job with the lyrics. And Frida, you can say a couple of words about that, because that's also something that we really have developed for this album, I think.
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, as Jonas said, we wanted to challenge ourselves and develop the music, but still stay true to the Rexoria sound. And it was a kind of a challenge, as Jonas said, because we had to scratch some of the songs because we didn't feel like they were up in the right alley to release in the album. So it was a long process, and I wanted to also make this album more of a storytelling album than we have done before in the lyrics, that the lyrics maybe give you some thoughts after each song, and you can go back to them and notice some more of the details in the lyrics and everything. So yeah, I think that we took a step forward in both the musical parts and the lyric parts on this one.
That's awesome to hear. Like, you know, like when you're doing a good album that you've done previously, when you do a current album, the current project, you always want to show growth, and that's as you know, when you go through these challenges, it's one of those good things because it basically helps you grow and makes it refine and change the craft, and one thing that I've noticed about your band, you guys are defined by royal metal. So, despite the challenges with making the new record, has that identity sharpened or evolved? And what does royal metal mean to both of you now?
Actually, royal metal came not in the first part of the album was written because we were thinking about our identity and what we are, because in these kind of interviews or reviews before, people have struggled to place us. They always want to place a band in some genres, like this is this or this is that, but we never felt like we belonged in either power metal or symphonic metal or heavy metal. We were something else, and we wanted to state that in some way. And we talked to me and Jonas about how should we actually present this, and we always had this golden / black color parts, and we were talking about how what is gold and what is most similar to that, and we realized like, okay, kingdoms, royalties, and we were like, okay, but royal metal, that's not something that's weird for us to say, in the sense that we have music that's powerful, elegant, and it's like really talking to you in a way that is more uplifting in a way. And then we realized after a while that Rexoria, the Rex stands for king in Latin, and Aurea stands for golden, and it came together as like the golden kingdom. And it was so funny because we realized that more after that we came up with the name, but since we have played this all along, it has just landed with the fans. I told the band yesterday, like, none of the fans have even doubted this. They have been with this all along. Like, yes, this is what they have been always, but we just didn't have a name for it. So when we came up with this royal metal part, it's just everything fell into place. And I think it was a really good call for us, because now we really have the true heart and identity in what we really are, both visually and musically.
Oh, awesome. Anything you'd like to add, Jonas?
I think that was a really good explanation. I always let Frida talk regarding this or answer this question, because she's so much better to explain this than me. But as she said, it's when we decided this in the band, everything just was feeling, this is the right thing. Then we don't need to force ourselves to something that we are not really sure about, and so on. This just feels very right. This feels Rexoria. So that was, I think, a little bit of a relief at the same time, also about that regarding social medias and everything. So we have this red line through everything.
Yeah, it's pretty cool how you guys define that drum and you've made it your own. And just to let you know, when we start reviewing your album, and we'll get some press releases coming into our inbox, and we put it on social media, we'll put the hashtag royal metal.
Super.
That's cool.
So we'll add that for you. Now that we know why and the story behind it, and it kind of does match to your band's name, because I did look at I did do some research, and the Rex and the owner, the golden sound, and you did that. It's kind of awesome how you kind of also, there'll probably be people going, oh, you do this and that, like you have your here and your naysayers, they say. But I think that when a band wants to crack their own voice and their own drama, they have this, what you guys done with royal metal. When you guys do future projects and stuff, this always gives you, this is who we are, this is what we're about. So yeah, man, we'll definitely put the hashtag royal metal when we always support your journey. So you got our support.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
No worries. I want to deep dive into the album itself, following dimension, because I did have a good chance to listen to the album. I did listen to it from the first to the last track. And I really like the consistency of the energy of the album from start to finish. It has that flow. It is guitar driven in that kind of element of metal. What I really enjoy, I like how each track has its individual voice. It stands out. And it just flows really well. And my favorite track that really stood out to me was Dominion, where I liked the way it was. For me, it was like the transition of the album, because when I listen to albums, it's like I like storytelling, and it's like a cinematic. So I was really immersed, and I felt the cinematic experience, and I found it was very powerful. And then when Dominion kicked up, it was like a transition halfway through, and that song, Dominion, and the way the song structure composed. I don't want to give too much away with anyone that hasn't heard the song, but so to sum it up, like it basically stood up to me, and I think when I heard it a couple of hours ago, I still had Dominion song get stuck in my head. So it was a really standout track for me personally. As I said, the production is really well, and something that you guys should be proud of. My question is, with the experience from a listening angle, was that sense of flow and cohesion something you intentionally built into the album?
Actually, we had more problem, as Jonas can tell. Like we were more worried that it was not supposed to be a red thread through the whole, so that was a balance. But Jonas can talk me about it.
Yeah, it's like when starting with an album and everything, and then thinking like we want the album being dynamic and so on, but then also having the little fear that just so it doesn't stand out too much. So that was struggling for especially Frida and I, who is doing most of or basically everything with the songwriting, because when you are in this songwriting bubble, something that's could be quite similar could feel very far away from each other, or the other way around. So then it's very good to have the other ones in the band to like review it and giving us input. And and just about Dominion, I remember Frida sent me like the choruses with the vocals and maybe a piano also, and then I got the feeling right away, okay, this should be this kind of song, a song we have basically never written before or something like that. But then we said we go for this, even if it feels for us at the moment a little bit far away from what we've done before. But I think this will be a good song for the album. So
yeah, and it's funny that you mentioned like Dominion, because it has been so funny, and it really warms my heart, because everyone we have been talking to have different favorite songs. It's not like this one or this one, like we have the two hits, because everyone has a different passion for each song. And it's really funny about Dominion, because when we were writing that, we felt, since Jonas did a pretty groovy and cool riff to it, and it was starting out really heavy, I felt like maybe I can't really carry this one by myself. It was more like Sabaton influenced, and wanting the male backing vocals and everything. It was like, okay, but it was really cool if we can have a male voice joining us on this one. And we got in contact with Mike Anderson Tungsten, and he was a friend of ours, and we had a contact on Facebook, and I wrote to him, and he was like, oh, this is a really cool song. Of course I want to join you guys. And he was really fast. It took like 1 day or two, and he sent all the tracks, everything ready with the backing vocals and everything. So it was really cool working with him. And I think that the end result was, it became kind of more emotional in a way, even if it's heavy and strong, but like the parts of the lyrics and everything, it was like, yeah, it's really, really cool.
Yeah, because it's interesting that you talked about the lyrics and the concept with the album, what you were written. The album does move into like the war-driven narratives, social commentary, and deeply emotional in moments. What draws you to telling stories about ordinary people rising against, larger forces, and does that reflect where Rexoria is right now?
Yeah, and I think it always has been, but not maybe so prominent as it has been on this one, because we're Swedish and English is not our first language, and it's pretty hard sometimes to find the right words to really express the emotions and everything. And I've been working hard on that on each album, but this one I really dive into it in another way, like really looked up word and everything to really get the chance to show those emotions in each song. And as royal metal stands for, it's not about the kings, queens, or everything. It's about unity and standing united in an empire and community. And that's also one of the parts that I always like to sing about, the feeling that even if you feel small in the world, together you can like stand up to what's harming you or what feels bad in your life. And it always have come naturally for me. I don't know if it's like the hard rock rebel in me or in us. Like you always have to, you want the freedom to be yourself, and not everyone, not anyone standing on you and or talking bad about you or anything. So it comes naturally for me, and in this one I really wanted to showcase that. And I think that each song has kind of that, okay, maybe not a ballad, but but many of the songs has that powerful statement, like unite and stand together, and if you join the Rexor Empire, you will stand with us, and we can build something strong together. And it's always been a big narrative for me to have that empowerment for people.
It's awesome to see that, because it's good. It's like, when people do think of, kingdom, the king and the queen, it's about unity. It's everyone that makes the kingdom. It's I think that it works. It applies to the real world situation, and everyone is united and stuff. I think that your message in those tracks and what you've done, and that it really reflects it and works well with the music. So, I guess my question is probably for each of you, because you both played different roles in the band. I'll probably go ask Jonas a question. As a instrument, as a guitarist and songwriter, you got to, there were probably singers as well with, Mike Anderson or Dominion, and you had, hopefully I'll pronounce it right, Johnny Giorelli.
Yeah, we're also pretty unsure about that, but I think it's gonna do.
Okay, cool. So a bit more as a vocalist, but I guess from your perspective, when you're writing the musical pieces in the band, did their collaborations influence the overall dramatic of the album itself?
I mean, Frida and I, we are sitting together and writing the songs and so on. So I think we are also talking very much about the song, what kind of feeling, what are our thoughts, and so on. And based from that outcome, then I think with these guest vocalists, that then we came up with that, okay, this would fit for this song, and this person would fit for this song, for example, and so on. So even if I'm not writing any lyrics, we are cooperating very close, Frida and I. So we are like doing or I guess Frida is having some kind of lyric thoughts and so on already when we are talking about what kind of song this should be, what kind of music feeling should we have with this one, and then based from that, then I'm trying to come up with something that like fits everything. So I think very often, especially on this album, that Frida already had an idea about something, a feeling that we was like bringing together into the songs we were writing.
Yeah, and the guest singers was more of a, what do we want to get out of this song, more than like they taking a part like of the narrative or anything, because like even if the melodies on the last on the album, it was the first one that we wrote, and we felt like halfway in like, oh, this is a true 80s power ballad, and it should really be a hard song. And I was always in the heartbreak kind of era, and I was like, should be so cool if we just do it like female male vocals to really capture that emotion and that feeling. So as Jonas said, on each song we start out, we have somewhat of thought on what we are aiming for, and then it can become something else than we thought in the beginning, but we always have like a direction that we're aiming for, and usually it plays out pretty good, because me and Jonas knows one another so well now that we sometimes reading each other's thoughts even if we don't have to say anything. So yeah, it's really cool doing the writing process.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's awesome because when I did hear those two tracks, for me, it does sound like a duet. It might be like it, but in a metal kind of way. Or it's like with the male and the female, vocalist kicking. It does really work well, and it kind of reconnects to my childhood era. Even that I wasn't before I discovered metal, like the Brother Streisand, that kind of stuff. You kind of get that aura when I was as a kid, so it kind of does give me that reminiscence to it, but like more of that with the metal, with the with the low guitar riffs and the low metal sound, and it really worked really well. Also, when I discovered about you guys, you being from Sweden, you got the opportunity to play at Sweden Rock 2 years ago, back in 24, and then last year you ran outside of Sweden and you played in Norway, Germany, Belgium, and Netherlands. So that you got yourself outside, which is pretty hard for underground bands to get outside of their own country. It's a tough scene out there. Based on the experience that you had on the road, what did the band gain from being on the road? And did it actually, with the experience that you guys got, did it help you grow as a band? Did it influence on how you wanted to do the Fallen Dimension record? Did it have any shape or form based on your experience when you went on the road?
I think when you are on the road, it's since we've been with a nightliner all the time, basically, then you are getting very close to each other. You start learning each other even more, maybe in a way that you wouldn't have done otherwise, if that would be just a gig here or one there and so on. But here it's like you are living together in these extremely small confined spaces. So I think then you start learning each other's like how we behave in different situations and everything, because sometimes it can be time pressuring during the tour and so on, and then you like learning each other really well, I would say. Frida, do you want to add something about that?
Yeah, but it's been a big learning process. As you said, we have been out on, is it 3 or 4 European tours? I don't
For
know.
European tour so far with the band, totally.
Yeah. So it's a many shows and with many other bands, and you always learn, since you're traveling with like 3 or 4 other bands as well. You get to learn how these guys do things, and what to think about and what not to do, and how you approach the live shows in a good way. And yeah, you get big inspirations, but as Jonas said, you also get to know more of each other in the band, even if we know each other really well. It's kind of a family band, but you get to learn how people work and what strength and maybe weaknesses you have and everything. So yeah, it's a really good experience, but most of it's so fun to just come out and play for the fans and meet all the fans. It's the best part of being on tour.
That's awesome. That's awesome to hear. And obviously you guys love playing, you love performing, you love engaging with the fans that you go. One that now album's just going to be released. Do you guys have any plans on touring throughout the year, especially going into the summer festivals in Europe? So anything that you can share with the fans, or about you going forward, I guess.
Yeah, we have one festival already booked, which is in July in Sweden, and then we are in discussions and so on with something that might will come out soon, a bigger thing. Nothing is 100% said and done yet, so we cannot say anything about that. But our intention is to go on a European tour after the album, but we don't know exactly when and so on, because it's, as I said before, it's a tough competition with other bands to get a tour and get the right tour that fits us and our album and so on. But we might have something ahead, which we hopefully in a few weeks can announce.
Yeah, we are in a discussion with if we seal the deal here, it will be one of the, or it will be the biggest one we have done yet, and I think it would be a really really cool one. But as Jonas said, I don't think maybe it's not the competition part in that way, that because we don't have a booking agency, and that's maybe the hardest parts for us right now, because we have what we feel all the pieces to really go on tours and everything, but you always get, maybe you can't push through, since all the agencies always pick their own bands and making deals inside their era. So that's the hardest part. But I think as hopefully we can get a good booking agency after this album, and hopefully that will also make us maybe come to Australia or play abroad in a bigger way. So it would be really cool to step outside of Europe once and get out in the world.
Yeah, awesome. Like, as you said, you're in, based on the environment and the constraints you've going forward, just as each one of you, just as a dream, which destination would you love to play in outside of Europe? So if you had the opportunity to go anywhere around the world, based on your influence and what you guys loved about metal and part of your identity, which part of the world would you like to perform at and why?
If we start with me, I would definitely wanted to go to Japan, and then I'd probably say Tokyo, because Japan is like a country which I never been in. It's far away there, but it's a country I really want to go and see. I mean, I think everything just seems very, very nice and cool over there. So much to see. I was even reading one year Japanese in school, which I have totally forgotten about almost everything. But then
You did a message on Japanese though. You
yeah, I
said
did.
like
I did.
yeah.
Yeah. And then also you learned a little bit about the culture during that year when I was reading Japanese, and everything just seems very, very nice, and seems that the audience that is there is normally quite insane, also in a good way. So I definitely would say Tokyo, Japan.
Oh, awesome. What about you, Frida?
Okay, first of all, I going outside of Europe means that you need to fly, and I hate to fly, so that's the scary part for me. But like, actually, we have gotten so much response from you guys in Australia on this one. We have gotten a lot of interviews and response and feedback, and I have never, like, this is so far away from us, but it's a really really cool country, and me as like an animal lover, you have like all the animals in the world, so it would be really really cool to visit your country and see how it is there, because, and also the response you've got, because what I've heard, Australia is not a country that maybe is so much into the style we are playing and everything, but as I have acknowledged now in this promo and interviews, it's have been a different side of it, and it would be really really cool to get over there. And but as Jonas said, Japan would be cool as well, but I think it's really it looks kind of crazy over there, so I don't know if I will manage their spirit in the audience. But yeah, Japan and Australia would be really really cool.
Yeah, look, I basically can feel the fear in the traveling, because like I haven't been overseas personally, but when I go from Sydney to Melbourne, it's like only a 1 hour flight. So, you know, I do get the anxiety kicks in and stuff, but once it's there, you're all right, cool. But I reckon, I'd love to see you guys come to Australia one day, you know, if all the logistics is possible and stuff. And, you know, basically, you know, I think that you guys, you know, are doing really well, and you know, and you got these dreams and inspirations, you know, from you know playing in Japan, embracing the Japanese culture to the Australian culture. So it's very interesting to, you know, to see there's kind of dreams and inspirations, and you want to push Rexoria. We're about to wrap it up, and once again, I want to say congratulations on the new record. If you had a definition, if you had to define fallen dimension in one lasting idea or statement, something that represents this moment in the band's journey, what would that be?
I'll let Frida take this one.
No worries.
I think we have gotten a few reviews about like this is the album that might make the world notice Rexoria, and I think actually that's a good explanation about it, because this is the first time I really feel that we have done something that is 100% us, 100 what we represent, and I think that people also will hear that and also feel that. The feeling is the most important part, and I think that's if even new people who have not listened to Rexoria and people who are already fans, I think they all will feel, they will get emotions out of this album. I think that's the most important part, that they will remember it because they made them feel something, I think.
Oh, awesome. Anything you'd like to add, Jonas?
I completely agree, and like having the feeling when you have heard the album that you want to hear it again and want to check what more about Rexoria and so on, that and you get this feeling as Frida is talking about and so on. I think that's the most important, because that's what music is about, to deliver a feeling and want the audience to get their own feeling about this in a positive way, of course.
Oh, awesome. Again, thanks guys for your time. Rexoria Fallen Dimension is out. So by the time the magazine's out, the video's out, the album, you guys would have the audience, you guys would be able to listen to it. If you haven't heard it, you know, they've got their music on Spotify. We've got 2 tracks on our Spotify playlist. So follow the Headbangers playlist to discover. We've got links to the band's website, social media, and everything that the band support and follow them, and also the YouTube videos that they've released. So we've got them all in the video description, and we'll see you guys in the next video.